All right, everyone, welcome back. I hope everyone had a decent lunch. Brenda, I can't believe it was stormy and raining like the sky was falling, and now it's all beautiful and bright outside. I guess just enough to mess up cars and hair and everything else. All right, so Mr. Nellam.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, on that case, I'm going to bring it back on Friday at 9 a.m. I've been given some things to think about, and I want to make a decision that I believe will be a just decision in the case. And I want to take my time to reread the PSI report. So on Mr. Nellam, we're going to be back on October 1st at 9 a.m. And I'll be ready to hear argument at that time and ready to make a decision at that time.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Norma, can you let them know that 14L, Mr. Neelam, can go back, please?
Email. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Neelam, I'll have a decision for you on Friday.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then Robert Maurer, who is your client?
Judge, his name is Isaiah Esquivel. I have a case number and a SID number if you'd like.
Just 1 second. What is the cause number?
2016-5975.
Is it criminal trial division or family violence?
It's family violence. I chatted Joe Ray this morning. I don't know if he saw it. It's a motion to enter adjudication. A guy who looks like he had a bunch of positives and failures to submit for weed. And
Okay.
then reporting in January.
All right, I'll send you to a breakout with them, room with them to confirm a bond, because you're here on a bond, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's it.
All right. To the clerks, could you bring me case file 2016 CR 5975, please? And Mr. Maurer, I'll send you to breakout room number 2.
Thank you.
All right, Eric Hernandez on Mr. McGarity.
Yes, Your Honor. I tried to call him and missed him. If you could place me in a breakout room with Mr. McGarry so we can discuss his decision on this matter.
All right, Mr. McGarity, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 3. Lorraine Efron.
Judge, I'm here. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I would like to confer with somebody.
What is your client? I guess it's Alfonso
Yeah.
Utire?
Yes.
Is that how
Yes.
you pronounce his last name?
It might be Boteri.
Okay.
I'll clarify that. And he has the MTR as well as some new cases.
All right. I'll send you to breakout room number 4.
Okay.
Judge, can you make me a co-host, please?
Yes, I'm sorry about that. There you go. And David, I've made you a co-host. Let's see if there's anyone else. And Marcus, I've made you a co-host. And Elena, you are here for a plea on Mr. Diaz. All right, we're just waiting for that attorney to come in. Mr. Diaz, has your paperwork been done?
So Diaz is the one who was in the courtroom, and he gave us an email address to send his paperwork to. So he needs to check his girlfriend's email so he can digitally sign the documents and they can go to Lupe.
All right, Mr. Diaz? You need to sign. Do you have your email address?
I do not, but I got with my girlfriend because that's the only email that I have. And she's gonna
Is
sign
your
it.
girlfriend here?
No, she's not.
Well, how are we gonna have paperwork signed if your girlfriend's not here? All right, this is what we'll do. Norma, can we have it sent to the deputy's computer?
Yes, Judge, I can ask Deputy Mejia if he
All right,
can,
thank
we can use his email.
All right, we're gonna use the deputy's, the court's email in the courtroom, okay?
Let me ask Deputy Mejia, Judge, I'll be right back.
All right, thank you. Because Mr. Diaz, your girlfriend cannot sign your paperwork, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can have a seat. We'll get with you shortly. All right.
So we've also have the De La Garza client, Robert Garcia, who had his paperwork already signed, and I think he was sworn in this morning.
Yes, we're just waiting for Daniel De La Garza.
Okay, and Bobby Gebbia has said that Norma should just call him and he'll log on. He and I spoke by phone a second ago.
All right, and he'll log on for Mr. Diaz.
He'll log on for Mr. Diaz once Mr. Diaz is sworn in and we're ready to go.
Okay.
Elena, I sent you a chat.
Brenda, today feels like a Friday. Should we treat it as a Friday? I don't think so. Elena's like, yes, we should treat it as a Friday.
I'm ready for the weekend.
Oh gosh, I am too. It seems like we're starting
Beautiful
to get some
outside.
fall weather. Yes.
We can just get rid of this humidity for good.
Mhm.
That would be nice.
It would be nice if we could open windows here.
You know, you can. All the ones in my office, the little skinny ones,
Mhm.
old building.
But didn't they paint those shut? Isn't it hard to open them?
I think Mike Cohen is still around and he can teach us all how to do it with an Allen wrench.
Okay. I missed that because I would have loved some fresh air circulating in the office when I was there.
But we used to have the patios.
Mhm.
We used to have the patios off the cathedral side of the building and
Yes.
then the parking lot side.
I don't know why they didn't put some patio furniture out there. That would be nice to have lunch out there.
Yeah, I think the commissioners have some on the top of the Justice Center or the Pet Building.
Robert Maurer.
Judge, I talked to Joe Ray. We have an agreement for a $6,000 bond, weekly reporting and weekly UAs.
All right, if you will put that in an email to the court, and what I will do is I will print that out and put it on a B page unless you have the order.
I do not have the order. I'll send you the email right now. Is it okay if I log off? I'm supposed to be doing a plea in 379, but I'll send you an
Yes.
email before I log on there.
Yes,
All right, thank you very much.
you're welcome. Bye-bye. If everyone will give me 2 minutes, Rebecca, I need to take my allergy medicine.
I think I need one too, Judge.
When is someone, can you please hold? Judge. Hello? Yes. You need help?
Mr. Garcia, you have your hand raised.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I had set it down and I don't know why he raised the hand. I apologize.
Oh, no problem. I just thought you needed something.
No, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. And I need to fill this out. Oh, let me do this. Make sure I mute. Bobby Gebbia, if you could go to breakout room number 2, please. Your client is there.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 21041650039 is not available.
Hi, Danielle De La Garza.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Are you ready to proceed on your client, Mr. Garcia?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, State, are you ready? Elena Altus.
Yes, I'm here, ready.
All right, the court is going to call 2021 CR 2125A, State of Texas versus Robert Garcia. Can I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state,
Elena Altus for the state.
for the defense?
Daniel De La Garza for Mr. Garcia.
And are you Mr. Robert Garcia?
Yes, ma'am.
We're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. Any objections from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Any objections from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Garcia, I'm going to show you a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Appear by Video. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am, I sure did.
Court will find that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily consented to appear by video. Next, I'm showing you what's entitled Application for Community Supervision or Deferred Adjudication. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it?
Yes, Judge. I understand it.
Counsel, I'm showing you what's entitled Discovery Acknowledgement. Have you received all the discovery in this case and did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
The court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Garcia, I'm showing you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Count one, we are, Your Honor. We're waiving and abandoning count two.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Garcia, I'm going to show you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand what you're charged with in count one is engaging in organized crime, theft, 30,000 to 150,000? That's a second-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea bargain agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty, not grant you community supervision, and sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses to this offense?
No, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I believe he does.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Garcia, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea bargain agreement to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, I am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review this page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea bargain agreement, there is no fine. The state recommends deferred adjudication. There's restitution to be determined by the court through the Community Supervision Office, or $121,478.51 to Home Depot joint, and that's cut off.
Severally with the co-defendants, there's three of them in this case. Their names are Carlos Martinez, Vanessa Garza, and Pete Diaz.
All right, any objection to the court writing into the document that the restitution is $121,000, $121,478.51 to Home Depot joint and severally with Carlos Martinez, Vanessa Garza, and Pete Diaz?
We have no objection to that.
Any objection state?
No, Your Honor.
And it states here that the restitution is to be determined. So
No,
is the-
I don't have the ability to scratch anything out like I used to. So this is the problem with Adobe sign templates.
so the restitution that you all have agreed to is $121,478.51. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor, it was not to be determined. It's been determined.
Any objections to the court scratching through the words to be determined by the court through the Community Supervision Office and showing as a part of the plea bargain agreement that the amount to be paid is $121,478.51. Any objections, defense?
From the defense, no, Your Honor.
Any objections, state?
No.
Mr. Garcia, do you understand that according to the plea bargain agreement, the restitution is to be $121,478.51 to Home Depot jointly and severally liable with Carlos Martinez, Vanessa Garza, and Pete Diaz? Did you understand that to be the
Yeah.
plea bargain agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you the paragraph entitled Waiver of Appeal. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargain agreement. The state is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 8 years. And there are no community service hours. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Did you understand that those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes.
Then to the offense as charged in the indictment in count 1, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest?
State, any evidence to support the defendant's no contest plea?
Yes, Your Honor. We've offered States Exhibit 1 together with all attachments.
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Garcia, I'm going to show you what's entitled Wavering Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence States Exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Now, the court will defer finding of guilt as you apply for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Just that he accepts responsibility, and we would ask that you follow the plea bargain.
All right, why is there a request for no community service hours?
Judge, I'd like the defendant to focus on his restitution. I think that it's a large amount, and that's why we've agreed to no fine, and we did not recommend any community service hours.
All right, Mr. Garcia, are you employed?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do?
I work for Postal Service,
Doing what?
delivering mail.
All right, and are they aware of this offense?
Not at the moment.
So, I mean, does anyone see that as an issue? Because I have
Yes.
someone before me who committed an offense at Home Depot where he was taking receipts, and he worked at Home Depot, taking receipts, giving it to his brother and the girlfriend of someone. And now he's being trusted to deliver mail, which, as we know, includes credit card information and all this other information. So,
Well, Your Honor, can we make it a condition of probation that he informed his employer, and then they can do what they may with that information, whether it be fire him or demote him?
well, let's do this then. Let's find out. Is this a government agency that he's delivering mail for?
I believe it is, Your Honor. Yes.
And let's stop beating around the bush. Is this the U.S. Post Office?
That's what I'm saying. Yes, Your Honor. He's a postman. Yes.
Okay. Oh, no. That's what I'm trying to, I'm wondering, is it FedEx? Is it the U.S. Postal Service?
No. We're not beating around the bush. No, he works for the
Okay.
post office. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The postman.
So, just
Well,
for
Judge,
my information, was the crime at the Home Depot committed and then the U.S. Post Office hired him after that?
I believe so. Yes, Your Honor. And I certainly get where Ms. Atlas and you're coming from, Judge. But I think it's commendable that he had this stuff happen to him and he went off and got, what I would consider to be a good job like that. But I certainly understand the court's reservations, and I would have the same, concerns, if I were you. So can we make it a condition of probation that he tells the post office what he has going on here? And then they can kind of, I'm just saying, in this day and age, Your Honor, I don't think it's a good idea to have somebody, leave employment like that,
No, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but usually in this court, if somebody has been placed in a position of trust and violated it, I don't then send them back. If they're accused of, for example, if they're accused of stealing money for a bank, I don't then go say, oh, you got a job at a federal credit union working with money. That's great. But he is going to have to inform his employer. But I know how government operations run, and I'm sure they'll take it up the chain as far as whether or not he can continue to work there.
In all their infinite wisdom, right?
Yes, there we go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. And Rebecca,
Yes, ma'am.
in order for us to know that Mr. Garcia has actually informed his employer of this case, Mr. Garcia, you're going to need to provide information to probation of your immediate supervisor, who that is. Now, how we verify that is the immediate supervisor, I don't know, because it seemed from reading this police report that there are a lot of things going on.
Which I can counsel him on the the consequences of not being truthful to the court and probation. So and they're not good. So
Okay. And it appears that the person who was listed in here and who did this investigation work was a step away of being named Jason Bourne. You know, instead of Jason, it was Jamie Bourne. I was like, All right, this is what the court is going to do. The court will sentence you to 8 years deferred adjudication, restitution of $121,478.51 to Home Depot, jointly and severally liable with Carlos Martinez, Vanessa Garza, Pete Diaz. If you're drug tested today, what are the results going to be?
Negative. I don't use drugs, ma'am.
All right, regular UAs or patch, regular Zoom reporting. If something happens when you're Zoom, you can't report by Zoom, you'll need to report in person. Random field visits once per month. And Rebecca, make sure that they check that, you know, not to say anything about you, Mr. Garcia, but we have to check. So make sure they check that all the mail that's at his house is his and not someone else's. I'm going to do 40 hours of community service restitution. If you obtain the COVID vaccine, then 40 hours will be deducted. Whether or not you obtain the COVID vaccine is completely up to you. But if you do it or have done it, those 40 hours will be deducted. Proof of employment within 15 days. You must provide proof of informing employer of the fact that you're on deferred adjudication for this case. And you'll need to provide them the charge. So you need to inform your employer that you're charged with that you're on deferred adjudication for engaging in organized crime theft, $30,000 to $150,000. And you must inform them that you're on deferred adjudication for that. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Rebecca, is there anything else Mr. Garcia needs?
Is there going to be a no contact with the co-defendant?
Anybody want to know?
There's not, Your Honor, because one's his wife and one's his brother. And then the other one is someone who may or may not be deported.
But what about the no contact with Home Depot?
Oh, with Home Depot,
Yes.
that kind of goes without saying. Yes, that's fine.
Well, I mean, we can say it goes without saying.
I'm pretty sure they have his face up in the do not let him come in the store, but.
All right, no contact with Home Depot.
Is that country or just in Bexar County?
Mr. Garcia?
Yes, ma'am.
If you're going to be shopping at a store in the same vein as Home Depot, it has to be something other than Home Depot. I think you have Lowe's.
Yes, ma'am.
There are other places you can go, but Home Depot does not exist for you anymore.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. De La Garza?
No, Judge, I was saying Handy Andy. I'm just joking.
Oh, yeah, no. I remember Handy Andy from law school, but I think they closed it.
It used to be on Fredericksburg, I think.
Yes, I didn't have a vehicle, so I would walk from law school to Handy Andy.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, is there anything else that you need, Mr. Garcia, in order to be successful in this deferred adjudication?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Garcia, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it, and did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am. I did.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Garcia, we're going to go off the record. Here's the thing.
Right.
Nobody asked for you to, yes, Mr.
I'm sorry, may I address two things real
Yes.
quick that I'm thinking of? On proof of employment, if he, he's gonna inform his supervisor as quickly as possible, I'm sure. But if he's fired or something like that, would y'all give him a little bit of leeway on the 15 days to find employment?
Oh, most definitely. But here's the thing. If he is released, Rebecca, then it's the usual with the court. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider and no employment involving minors. And Mr. Garcia, each employer that you have, you're going to have to let them know what you're charged with, because you can't be around money and that type of thing.
Well, they do a background check, so they're gonna know regardless if I tell them or not. So,
Okay.
it's like everybody does a background check, so they're gonna know regardless, either by me telling them or not.
Okay, except for the post office. They don't do background checks.
Yes, they do.
Well, I mean, how did you, well, I'm not even going to get to.
I might be able to speak to that, Your Honor, if you care to know. It was investigated for a while and filed at large, so he probably went in, in that like period where there's no charge filed.
I was already employed, then I got indicted. So I was already working with them already like for 6 months. Then I got indicted for this case.
Okay.
And Your Honor, and one more thing, and that's all we'll have. But on the regular UAs, I mean, a lot of times I have clients that come in here and, we don't quarrel with that kind of stuff because they do need them. I don't know him to have any drug problems. I'm not asking you to waive them, but if he were to provide, maybe, I don't know, 6 months or 3 months worth, can we waive it at that point? Or maybe 5 along?
No, he has to do regular UAs.
Okay. I mean,
And if need be, he can do the patch instead of that. So, but the patch costs more. It's completely, I allow people to do the patch. But here's the thing, Mr. Garcia. Oh, and Brenna, we're off the record. Here's the thing, Mr. Garcia. Nobody asked you to take a theft course. So here's my crash course theft course. Nobody's paying me for this course. I just give it for free. Don't take what doesn't belong to you.
Yeah. And you know what? And I made a mistake, and I understand.
No.
I made a terrible mistake.
Let me explain it. You didn't make a mistake. Let me give Brenna. I know you already have it. You don't have to put it on the record. Let me explain to you. Let me give you an example of mistake, right? It was raining this morning. I knew it was going to rain. So I brought my umbrella with me. Let's say I bring my black umbrella. I'm sitting in court next to somebody. They have a black umbrella. And I'm getting ready to leave the court, and I know it's raining. I take the black umbrella, I go outside, I open it up because it's raining. And then I realize this is not my black umbrella because it has different initials on the inside. Guess what? That's a mistake. Now, let's say I come to court, didn't know it was going to rain, or maybe I knew it was going to rain. I just don't have an umbrella with me. Somebody sits down next to me, they have a black umbrella, and I take it. And I go outside and lift it up. Not getting hit by the rain because I have the umbrella. Guess what? That's not a bad mistake. That's a choice I made. I chose to take that umbrella, even knowing that it wasn't mine. So you didn't make some mistakes. You made bad choices, but
Yes,
you did what you did.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to tell you what I tell everybody who's charged with taking something that doesn't belong to them. Crash course. Don't take what doesn't belong to you.
Roger that. Yes, ma'am.
Yep. And then as a side note, if you're invited to somebody's house or a building and somebody asks you to leave, just leave.
Yes, ma'am.
Life is simple. People make it hard. All right, Mr. Garcia, good luck to you. I'm going to send you to a breakout room. You need to start talking to probation and figure out your finances to figure out how much you need to pay per month in order to pay this debt off. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to send you to a breakout room. Number 1, please be patient in that breakout room because Rebecca has to take care of another case before she goes in that room.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Have a great rest of your day.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. All right. Who is on Isaiah Esquivel? All righty. Kelly McGinnis.
Hi, Judge. Surprise.
Hi, surprise. Reynaldo Garcia.
I got in touch with my client and he's on my phone right now. Can I have him pop into the Zoom? And
Yes.
I have a question. It was scheduled today for a PSI to be sentenced. However, there was a misunderstanding on his part as far as the TAP evaluation went. He thought that when he was agreeing to the TAP, he was signing and saying he was going to treatment. I've explained all that to him now.
Okay.
And so I don't know if we want to reschedule to get that TAP done and then come back, or if we want to, what we want to do.
Well, you know, the court does its own tap. You know, I have my own
Okay.
tap that I personally do.
Okay. So, I mean, should I have him hop on and do the sentencing, or do you want me to do it tomorrow? What would you rather us do?
Oh, no, he can hop on and do the sentencing.
Okay, let me get him onto the Zoom. Hold on one second. Sorry.
All right, thank you.
If it'd be okay with you.
And then Eric Hernandez, your client.
Yes, Your Honor. I got in touch with David. He's just sent me the plea paperwork. Mr. McGarity is going to be pleading this afternoon. It's an opposed offer, so we will need a PSI.
All right, thank you.
And
I'll send you.
I sent Norma the email address for myself and my defendant in the chat, so she should have that information as well.
All right, I'll send you to breakout room. Let me find. I'm going to send you to breakout room number 5. And Mr. McGarity, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 5 so that your attorney can go over paperwork in that room with you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. And Mr. Hernandez, let me find which breakout room you were in. There you are. All right, and everyone, I have a plea packet coming through on Pete Diaz. So to the clerks, can you go to breakout room number 2? And to the courtroom, could you go back to room number 2 so that Mr. Diaz can be sworn in, please?
Judge, I'll go over his room in the courtroom.
All right, thank you. Rebecca, I guess you can go to number 1 then, because we're just waiting for them to swear Mr. Diaz in.
Okay, I'll go over there. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, everyone, just give me a moment.
Here, Ronaldo, the judge is taking a break. Just hit mute on your phone. Hey, also, if you can hear me, she's gonna want you to sit still and be in a stopped, perfect. Don't wear a hat, none of that stuff.
Thank you, Kelly.
I forgot to tell them all that before we got on.
All right. And so it's Mr. Let me find your file. Ronaldo Garcia. Who's the prosecutor on Ronaldo Garcia?
I dealt with Hunter earlier today, but I had talked to Marcus in the past, so I don't really, it was a recommendation for probation.
Is there a prosecutor available for sentencing? Kelly, I don't think they see this eyebrow lifting up. Like, is there a prosecutor available for sentencing?
Judge, I'm here.
All right, Hunter, you made me lift my eyebrow twice.
Sorry, I was talking to Miss Aurora. I wasn't trying to disregard the court, Judge.
Oh, I understand. All right, the court is calling 2021 CR 1001, State of Texas versus Ronaldo Antonio Garcia. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Hunter Morris.
For the defense?
Kelly McGinnis for Mr. Garcia.
And are you Mr. Reynaldo Garcia?
Yes.
We're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. Any objection from the state?
None, Judge.
Any objection from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Garcia, do you have any objection with the sentencing taking place by video?
No, ma'am.
And the court will note for the record that the defendant entered a plea on July 22nd to count 2, and that was done by video. The court found the defendant guilty of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, 4 to 200 grams. According to the plea bargain agreement, punishment is to be assessed at 5 years in the prison. There's a $1,000 fine, no application for deferred adjudication. The state recommends community supervision. The state will take in consideration 2021 CR 1002, and there's $57 to SAPD for drug testing. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report? State?
Judge, I have not reviewed the PSI, but have been updated on the PSI.
All right.
Defense? I've read the PSI.
All right. Any objections from either side to the PSI report? State?
None, Judge.
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. McGinnis, is there anything you wish to say on behalf of your client? The state is recommending community supervision.
No, Judge, I would just ask, we would hope that you'd follow the plea bargain and give Mr. Garcia a chance to prove to you that he can do this probation and possibly on the outpatient that the probation recommended for him. They did state in the narrative that they believed intensive outpatient treatment was should be recommended. and that it seemed to be, from my reading, that he was kind of turning over a new leaf and trying to change. And I think that that's what I've also experienced from Mr. Garcia. So we would just ask that you follow the plea bargain.
All right, Mr. Garcia, the court is inclined to follow the plea bargain agreement, but here's the thing. I need you to be honest with me, because what I'm trying to do is give you conditions where you can be successful. If I didn't think you would be successful in probation, I wouldn't follow this plea bargain agreement. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and Rebecca, I see that you are here. It's Reynaldo Antonio Garcia, 2021 CR 1001. We're proceeding on count 2, possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, 4 to 200 grams. So, Mr. Garcia, if you're drug tested today, what are the results going to be? And know that I will have you drug tested today.
Probably weed.
I mean, let's just be honest, right?
I am.
All right, because here's the thing. If you tell me it's only going to be marijuana and I send you to get drug tested and it turns out it's more than just marijuana, this is then the problem we're going to have is that I know which place you are in your sobriety. So when people are ready to change and it's related to their sobriety, they're honest about their use, right?
Yes.
So are we going to stay with the only thing you could possibly be positive for is marijuana, or is there more than that? Possibly.
Possibly. It's just, I guess, being honest part about it.
Well, here's the thing. Everyone is on it. Here's the thing, Mr. Garcia. Everybody's on a journey in this life. Hopefully that as we take our journey in this life, we're learning things, we're becoming better people. And where we start out in life, hopefully that's not where we end. Some people are not sober. Hopefully, midway through their life, they get sober, they stay sober. But everybody has to start off at a point, right?
Yes.
Children don't start off running. If they do, when they're born, if they immediately start running, I think we need to all be concerned, right?
Yes. Communication.
Yes, so there we go. So possibly, I say possibly, what are you going to be positive for, Mr. Garcia? As my grandmother would say, tell the truth, shame the devil. What are you going to be possibly positive for?
Just weed and a little bit of methamphetamines, and that's it. That was a few days ago.
All right, so this is good that you're being honest with me. The sky did not fall. I'm still inclined to follow your agreement. So how often are you using meth?
I guess whenever I go around certain people.
All right, so when's the last time you used?
Just over the weekend.
All right. And is this these people you're using with, is this family members or just friends who are in the community?
Yeah, they're family members. And I've already discussed it too, but by myself, it's just I need to get away from them. I just need to know when is enough. And I feel like this right here is always like, for the way my life's headed right now, I feel like this is a opening for me to finally make a change or want to make that change.
All right. Do you have any children?
Yes, I have 2 boys.
What are their ages?
7 and 4 years old.
All right. Are they living with you or somebody else?
No, they live with their mom right now.
All right. And does their mom use?
No.
All right. So how often are you allowed to see them?
Every weekend. Actually, I can see them whenever I want. Really, it's just me calling them, but I get them every weekend.
All right. So, Mr. Garcia, you're going to have to be clean and sober because I can't have someone getting children over the weekend and you're not sober. You understand why? Because I always tell people, for example, if you want to hire me to babysit your children and you interview me, every other person says, Stephanie Boyd is the best babysitter ever. I'm Black Mary Poppins. Everybody loves me. I'm singing spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. And then you have me play with your children just to, see how I am with your children. Children like, Dad, we really love this Stephanie Boyd. You got to hire her. And as I'm leaving your house, you say, you know what? You got the job. And I tell you, well, let me be honest with you. I have some family members. When I'm around them, I use a little bit of meth, a little bit of weed. I just used it. Do you still let me babysit your children?
No.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to change, you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
All right. Where do you work? What do you do?
I do construction. I work with my dad.
All right, so this is what we're gonna do. It's gonna sentence you to 5 years in prison, suspended and probated for 5 years. $1,000 fine, that'll be probated. Take in consideration 2021 CR 1002. $57 to SAPD for drug testing. 120 hours of community service restitution. I'll deduct 40 hours of those if you've obtained the COVID vaccine. So the record can be clear. I'm not requiring you to get the COVID vaccine. Whether you do or not is up to you. But if you do obtain it or have obtained it, and you show proof to probation, 40 hours of the 120 hours will be deducted. Proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. I'm going to want parenting classes with compadre y compadre. CPS compliance if applicable. I'm going to refer you to felony drug court. You need to be honest with felony drug court. Do you understand, Mr. Garcia?
Yes.
Because I don't want to get a message back from felony drug court telling me that Mr. Garcia says he doesn't have a drug problem, he doesn't need it. Because it's obviously that you need some help quitting, because if you didn't, you would not have used, before coming to court. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good program. So if he's not accepted into felony drug court, because I know they have a waiting list, then I'm gonna want intensive outpatient treatment with probation. And we will do the UA hotline, or he can do the patch. But I think we're gonna get him saying that the patch falls off because he does construction. The patch costs more, but the patch allows you to work and not have to come in so much. I'm gonna want random field visits. 3 times per month. There's going to be regular Zoom reporting. If something happens and you can't report by Zoom, then it'll need to be in person. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And I have no ability to stop you from having your children on the weekends, but let me explain something to you. That's why I'm doing that 3 times random field visits. You really should not be having your children with you over the weekend when you know that you've used, all right?
Yes.
Because anything could happen.
Yes, I understand that. I understand that.
All right, Rebecca, is there anything else he needs in order to be successful?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Garcia, is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful in this probation?
No, I can't. I'm already fine with what y'all already offered me.
All right, if you need something, you need to speak with probation and let them know, okay?
Yes,
The goal
ma'am.
is for you to successfully complete this and stop using.
Yes, ma'am. It's all communication. That's all it is. I need
All
to
right,
work on that.
Okay, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Can you review that? Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes.
And also, because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, we can go off the record. Mr. Garcia, before I send you to a breakout room for probation to go over conditions with you, I want you to explain something to you, okay?
Yes.
These drugs that people are using, none of them are FDA approved. You don't know what people are cooking in their kitchen, right? And see,
Right.
this is one of the things that could happen while your children are visiting you. One of the things is maybe you overdose. That would have a very bad impact on your children to see their father overdosing. If you are high, people think children can't tell. They know when dad is high. So they want you to be a good father to them. They want you to be present, and you can't be present and you can't be a good father to them if you continue to use. All right. And if the relatives that you hang around with are using, you're going to have to cut them out because you're not at the point where you can avoid temptation. You're going to give in to temptation if you're around people who are using because you're still actively involved in your addiction. Okay. All right. I'm going to send you to a breakout room with probation, and that will be breakout room number 1. Ms. McGinnis, you can go to 1 or either you can be excused.
Okay, thank you, Judge. I'll go in
You're
there.
welcome. Bobby Gebbia,
Judge, do you need me to wait or go in there?
you can go in there.
Okay.
I'm here, Judge.
All right. If you could show your video for me, please.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I got all dressed up for you.
Oh, wow. All right, Bobby Gebbia, what I order for your client, you'll need to take notes because probation is in a breakout room going over conditions with someone else. All right, so Bobby, don't disappoint me with the note taking. There's been only one person who took notes perfectly, and that's been Nathaniel Navy. Everyone else, you know, it's been a struggle. But Bobby, I am used to you being in your garage.
Yeah, I'm at the office now.
Okay. All right, we're going to go on the record. The court is calling 2021 CR 2125D, State of Texas versus Pete Diaz. Can I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state?
Elena Altus for the state.
For the defense?
Robert Gebbia for the defense.
And are you Mr. Diaz?
Yes, ma'am.
We're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. The court will note for the record that the defendant is in the courtroom. Any objections to us proceeding by video, state?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Diaz, I'm going to show you a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Appear by Video. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily consented to appear by video. Next, I'm showing you what's entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication or Community Supervision. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, I'm showing you the discovery acknowledgement. Have you received all the discovery in this case and did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Diaz, I'm going to show you a document entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, we do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
No, Your Honor, we're proceeding under count 1, but to the lesser included offense of theft, $30,000 to $150,000. We'll be waiving count 2.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Diaz, I'm showing you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense of engaging in organized crime, theft, $30,000 to $150,000, reduced to the lesser included offense of theft, $30,000 to $150,000? Did you understand that that's a 3rd-degree felony? The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea bargain agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty, not grant you community supervision, and sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, off the record for a moment. Could the clerks go to breakout room number 5, please, and swear in Mr. McGarity? Counsel, back on the record. Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses to this offense?
Yes, he has, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I believe that he does, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, I believe that he is.
Mr. Diaz, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea bargain agreement to get you to enter this plea?
No, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Off the record, Mr. Hernandez and Mr. McGarity, would you please go to breakout room number 6? Thank you. Back on the record, I'm going to show you the page entitled Plea Bargain Agreement. Did you review that plea bargain agreement with your attorney and did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to the plea bargain agreement, the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense of theft, $30,000 to $150,000. Punishment is to be assessed at 5 years in the prison. There's to be no fine. State will make no recommendation to your application for deferred adjudication. Is that correct, state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the state scratching through where it says no recommendation for community supervision?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, so the state will be silent on your application for deferred adjudication. The state recommends community supervision. There's to be restitution capped at $25,000 to Home Depot. And should this be jointly and severally liable as well?
Yes, with Robert Garcia only, Your Honor, in this case. I have to talk to Chris Newman about how to get that where it prints out.
And you say capped at $25,000. So
Correct.
is it just $25,000 total?
He is only responsible for $25,000, Your Honor.
Okay.
Jointly and severally liable with.
Jointly and severally with the co-defendant who was responsible for the whole amount. That's the $142,000 case we heard a minute ago.
Yes. So any objections to the court writing that in as a part of the plea bargaining agreement?
No, Your Honor.
Any objection from the state?
No, Your Honor. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Mr. Diaz, do you understand that your restitution amount is capped at $25,000 to Home Depot? And that is jointly and severally liable with Robert Garcia. Did you understand that to be the entirety of the plea bargaining agreement, Mr. Diaz?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, is that the plea bargaining agreement?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea bargaining agreement?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you the paragraph entitled Waiver of Appeal. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it in both places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargaining agreement. State is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 5 years. There be no community service hours, no contact with Vanessa Garza and Carlos Martinez, and defendant will maintain gainful employment. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then to the lesser included offense of theft, $30,000 but less than $150,000. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence to support the defendant's plea.
Yes, Your Honor. The state offers State's Exhibit 1 together with all attachments.
Any
No
objections?
objection. No objection.
Mr. Diaz, I'm showing you what's entitled Waiving Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty. However, the court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
That's up to the court, Judge. If a PSI would assist you in his deferred adjudication application, we are asking for deferred.
Does he have priors? Can anyone tell me that?
He has some history in Bexar County. I have it up here anticipating that question. It looks misdemeanor-ish mostly, some of it fairly old. There are instances of possession of marijuana case out of County Court 7, interference with a telephone call, family violence out of County Court 7, a marijuana case. That might be old. That goes back to CR 11. That might not.
I have that. He got 6 days deferred adjudication in 03 on that marijuana charge. He was given 90 days deferred adjudication in 06 for a misdemeanor assault. 04, he got 1 day deferred for no driver's license. He's had a DWLI dismissed, and that interference with a telephone call was dismissed, as was a second POM in 2012. There was a 2016 dismissal on assault, bodily injury, and then he picked up this charge, Your Honor.
Okay, so here's the question for the court. 1, does he have any priors related to theft or any type of crimes of moral turpitude? I realize.
Well, he had a prior family violence assault, but that was dismissed, Your Honor, so I don't think that would count. That would be the only thing that would fit that criteria.
Okay, so here's the thing, Mr. Diaz, the court can do 1 or 2 things. You know you better than yourself. You know you better than your defense attorney, right? And there comes a point in time when you have to look at yourself honestly and say, can I do this? Can I not do this? So I'll give you a choice. I'll give you conviction, give you 5 years in the prison, suspended for 5 years, or either I give you 8 years deferred adjudication. However, if you are unsuccessful or if something happens and a motion to revoke is filed against you, you will be subject to the full range of punishment of 10 years.
He wants to defer, Judge. We went over that already.
Okay.
He would like to avoid a felony conviction. His record is pretty clean. He wants to avoid a conviction for moral turpitude. So him and I have gone over that. He's applying for the deferred for a reason.
All right, Mr. Diaz, are you employed?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do?
I'm a maintenance man
Where?
at a senior facility for people 62 and up.
Somebody explain to me. Okay, so here's the thing. This is my concern, Mr. Diaz, and I want you to realize where I'm coming from. You're being charged, and I found that there's sufficient evidence that you engaged in theft, right? And you were working with these people to commit a theft. But I'm just finding it sufficient for the theft 30,000 to 150,000 because that's what the agreement is. Do the people where you work know that you have this charge?
They picked me up at work and my supervisor was known. She was let known that of my charges of what I was getting picked up for.
She was let know?
I live there on property.
Okay, here's the thing, Mr. Diaz. I'm going to require that you provide proof that your employer knows what you're charged with. That puts them on notice. Usually in my court, you're not allowed to be a home health care provider or do any type of supervision of minors. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Rebecca, this is Pete Diaz. It's 2021 CR 2125D. The agreement was a plea to the lesser included offense of theft, 30,000 to 150,000. All right, the court will sentence you to 8 years deferred adjudication, restitution of $25,000 to Home Depot, jointly and severally liable with Robert Garcia. There's to be no contact with Home Depot. Proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Defendant is to provide proof of employer's knowledge of defendant's charges. So, Mr. Diaz, what you're going to have to inform your employer of is the fact that you are on deferred adjudication for theft, 30,000 to 150,000. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And they're probably going to need to provide a letter to probation stating that they're aware of what you charged of. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. So if something happens and you can't report by Zoom, you need to do it in person. I'm going to want field visits, random, 1 time per month. If you're drug tested today, what are the results going to be?
Marijuana.
Anything else?
No, ma'am.
I'm going to want UA, Rebecca. I know the time is late, so UA first thing tomorrow. And please have him test for levels. Those levels need to start going down and you need to stop using marijuana. 40 hours of community service restitution. The court will deduct those 40 hours if you obtain the COVID vaccine. I'm not forcing anyone to get the COVID vaccine, but if you do, those 40 hours will be deducted. There's to be no contact with Vanessa Garza, and Carlos Martinez. Anything else from either side with regards to sentencing?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Oh, you're mute, Bobby.
I'd like to revisit that no contact order potentially with the defendant so that he understands how is he related to these people? How often are they in contact? And is this no contact order necessary?
Mr. Diaz, how are you related to Vanessa Garza?
But she's my brother. Robert Garcia is my brother. She's my sister-in-law.
And how are you related to Carlos Martinez?
I'm not related to him. He's my brother's father-in-law. Or
Oh, this family enterprise.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the no contact order works so much for that family, but if it becomes an issue, I would advise him, to talk to his supervising PO about it. And if need be, I think we could revisit it on a motion to modify his conditions. I just don't know how feasible that is to keep brothers and family members apart. Holidays are coming up and stuff.
Yeah, but this is a little cooperation, in the criminal enterprise that they're pled to. So I didn't have no contact with his brother, but with his sister-in-law and this unrelated man who's dating Vanessa, his sister-in-law's mother, who I'm not even sure the status of that relationship anymore.
I think there's someone behind you, but okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, this is what we'll do. I'll have the no contact order in place, Mr. Yabia. And if there needs to be changes to that, just come into the court and the court will consider.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, so no contact with Vanessa Garza and Carlos Martinez. Rebecca, is there anything else that Mr. Diaz needs?
No, ma'am. I just wanted to clarify that was 40 community service hours and waive
Yes.
it with, okay.
Mr. Diaz, is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful?
Oh, ma'am.
All right, next I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we can go off the record. Mr. Diaz, nobody asked for you to do a theft course, so I'm going to give you my theft course. It's free. I don't charge for it. Don't take what doesn't belong to you. That's my theft course. If it doesn't belong to you, don't take it. If somebody invites you to their house or their apartment in their building and they tell you they want you to leave, leave. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to send you to a breakout room with probation. I'm going to send you to breakout room number 1. Probation will go over conditions with you. Mr. Gebbia, you can go to the one. Oh, I believe, Rebecca, you're here at the courthouse, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're going to be taken to the back room where she is. Mr. Gebbia, did you need to go with your client or no?
No, I think we have everything under control.
All right, thank you very much. You are excused.
Thank you, Your Honor. I hope you all have a wonderful day.
All right, you too. Elena Altus, do you have anything else with us?
Not today. I'll see you next time, Judge.
All right, bye-bye. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy hump day.
Oh, yeah, it is hump day.
That's right. I got the answer correct, so I want bonus points for that next time.
Okay, I will give you bonus points.
Thank you. Gold star.
Yes. All right, who's the prosecutor on Leonard McGarity?
Joe Ray, Judge.
Okay. All right, the court is calling 2020 CR 7995, State of Texas versus Leonard McGarity. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Joe Ray Garcia.
For the defense?
Eric Hernandez for the defendant, Leonard McGarity.
And are you Mr. McGarity?
Yes, sir. Yes,
We're
ma'am.
proceeding by video because of the pandemic. Any objection from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Any objection from the defense?
None, Your Honor.
Mr. McGarity, I'm showing you what's entitled Defendant's Consent to Appear by Video. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily consented to appear by video. Mr. McGarity, I'm showing you what's entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication or Community Supervision. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, I'm showing you the discovery acknowledgement. Have you received all the discovery in this case, and did you review it with your client?
Your Honor, I have received as much as the state could supply me. The documents they kept in their office, I was able to get there to review, so I do believe they have complied.
All right, the court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. McGarity, I'm showing you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We waive, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented? I'm sorry, Mr. Garcia, we can't hear you.
Hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, we are, Judge.
Mr. McGarity, I'm showing you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
To understand what you're charged with is prohibited sexual conduct, incest as a repeater. That's a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years with a possible fine up to $10,000. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea bargain agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case?
Huh?
Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty, sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses to this offense?
He has, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I do believe so, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
In my opinion, yes to both.
Mr. McGarity, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea bargain agreement to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. I'm showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that page with your attorney and did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea bargain agreement, you are to agree that you've been previously convicted of one or more felonies for enhancement. Punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 12 years. State opposes your applications. There's to be Chapter 62 compliance. Did you understand those were? Did you understand that to be the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea bargain agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Judge.
Next, I'm showing you the paragraph entitled Waiver of Appeal. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
None, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargain agreement. The state is requesting there be no contact with Juanita Davila and Elaine Mahler, Mahler. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the offense is charged in the indictment. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State, any evidence to support the defendant's plea?
State offers State's Exhibit 1 and all its attachments.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. McGarity, I'm going to show you what's entitled Waiving Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there'll be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence State's Exhibits 1 and attachments. And to the repeat offender enhancement allegation, it states, and it is further presented in and to said court that before the commission of the offense alleged above on the 14th day of February AD 2000 in cause number 1995 CR 5040A in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant was convicted of the felony of aggravated robbery. Is that true or not true?
Yes.
No, I need to know if it's true. If it is true, I need you to say true. If it's not true, then I need you to say it's not true. So is it true or not true?
True. And what year?
The year that you were convicted was, they're alleging, was February 14th, 2000.
No.
All right, so Mr. McGarity, let me explain, because sometimes people get a little confused. I'm looking at documents that have been accepted into evidence. You were placed on deferred adjudication for aggravated robbery, and you didn't successfully complete it. And so you were actually revoked which means you were convicted on February 14th, 2000. Do you understand?
Oh, okay, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the allegation, the enhancement allegation that I read to you, is it true or not true?
True.
All right. Thank you, Mr. McGarity. All right, after reviewing state's exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. The court will find the enhancement true based upon your plea of true and based upon state's exhibits 1 and attachments. Ms. Ferguson, I need a sentencing date for Mr. McGarity.
1 second. Oh, give me 1 second, Judge.
Thank you. Just 1 second. All right, Mr. McGarity. Your sentencing date will be November 16th at 9 a.m. You'll need to appear in court. Make sure you come to court wearing your mask. And that will be at 9 a.m. It's 187 District Court, the 4th floor. It's located at 300 Della Rosa. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to send you to a breakout room with your attorney with probation so that she can go over what's expected. Will there be a TAP evaluation needed, Mr. Hernandez?
I don't know that one was suggested by the state.
All right, we'll do a TAP evaluation.
And Your Honor, for my records, is just the defendant ordered to be present, or should I be present with him?
No, he's just ordered to be present.
Very well.
All right, I'll send you to breakout room number 1.
And Your
Probation
Honor,
will-
one other question before we leave.
Yes.
Any witnesses that I intend to call on his behalf in support of his application, should they be present in court or?
They
Zoom?
can be in present or by Zoom.
Very well. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. If y'all can go to number 1, Ms. Reyes will tell you what is needed.
Judge, I was in the, with the other client. Is the offense prohibited sexual conduct as listed on the docket?
Yes.
Okay.
And at the repeater paragraph, the state proceeded on the repeater paragraph as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Judge, I'll be right back.
Sure. Lorraine Efron, what is happening with your client?
Judge, there's a couple of things. I'm actually was drafting a motion that I was gonna get filed this afternoon if I could, related to mental health and competency. I discussed that with Joe Ray.
Okay.
And I can get it filed, but there's definitely some records in the discovery, also my observations that lead me to believe that might be necessary. He also.
What happened to your client? Why does he have that bandage on his head?
Well, that's another concern I have, Judge. He said he declined surgery and that there was maybe some tumor or something. I cannot completely assess that issue. So I also have that concern because he has a visible injury to his head today. And he is 55 years old.
Okay.
And then he did want to address the court about wanting to discharge me as his attorney.
All right. Alfonso, could you please unmute? I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Hello.
How you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
Sick, but okay.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm sick, but okay.
Okay. How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Butare.
Butare?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Michigan.
Okay.
My
Where did
fam-
you?
my
I'm trying to
family's
figure out the
from-
name.
My family is
Butare.
from Djibouti, North Africa.
Okay. Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
All right. So first things first, your attorney is telling me that you want another attorney. Before we even address that issue, let me explain some things to you. A lot of people think maybe that their attorney is not working because they don't see their attorney on a daily basis. That doesn't necessarily mean that your attorney is not working because we only have set days where we have court, right? So many a times what defendants don't see is they don't see their attorney working behind the scenes. So in this court, whether or not you are actually in front of the judge and on docket, that doesn't mean that your attorney is not doing other things. That doesn't mean that I haven't received motions that I signed, right? So I don't know if an offer has been tendered to you or not. Has an offer been tendered, Ms. Efron?
With regard to the MTR, Your Honor, there's multiple things pending, including indicted, unindicted, and an MTR.
All right. So Mr. Boutier, let me explain something to you about that. I've been a defense attorney. I've been a prosecutor. In this court, I require that the state give an offer in every case. Sometimes people may think the state's offer is ridiculous. Sometimes they may think it's great. But your attorney cannot force the state to offer maybe what you would like offered. In this court, even though I tell the state they must give an offer, I don't ever know what the offer is, and I don't want to know what the offer is because I want to keep a clear and open mind. So whatever offer that your attorney has tendered to you, I don't know what that offer is. But what I can tell you is she's required to present the offer that the state gives to you. She can't say, oh, I'm not going to give this offer to my client. You know, I'm going to keep it hidden to myself. That's not the way it works, and that's not ethically what we are allowed to do. So do you understand, Mr. Boutieri? All right, could you unmute yourself?
Yes,
So
I do
what
understand.
is with this injury you have?
Well, I have lupus. I have several injuries. I have lupus. Over the course of being picked up, I had an infection in my brain that from the lupus. It's called discoid. It came out in my head, and they tried to do surgery, and I wouldn't let them do surgery. At this point now, the discoid lupus that I've developed was called walking pneumonia.
Okay, so here's the question, Mr. Boutieri. This is what I want to know, because I know there's medical at the jail. Are you being allowed to see medical?
Upon release.
And I do know that you can see medical at the jail, and if they think you need more treatment, then they will take you to University Hospital.
Yeah,
So I
it's
just want to
easier
make
said
sure.
than done.
I'm
It's
sorry,
easier
what?
said, it's easier said than done.
Well, here's the
I've-
thing, if there's
I've
an
heard-
issue, Mr. Bucieri, if there's an issue with you seeing medical at the jail, let your attorney know. Your attorney will let me know and we'll make sure it happens. But if you don't let your attorney know, guess what? I'm not gonna know. If you don't let her know, she's not gonna know and she's not gonna be able to do whatever she can to help you on that front, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I already did that.
Okay,
I even sent her a letter.
all
Judge,
right, well, she's here.
yeah, I'm here. I think that some miscommunication may have to do with the issues that I would raise in a written motion that,
Okay,
so, you know, I do have those concerns about the communication,
Okay.
inability to communicate.
all right. So what we're gonna do, Mr. Bucieri, so that the court can be sure that there are no communications, I'm gonna have an evaluation done. I'm gonna have that done as quickly as possible. Ms. Ferguson,
Yes, ma'am.
can I get a 30-day reset on Alfonso Buteri, please?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Buteri, if
Yes,
there's an
ma'am.
issue with medical, let your attorney know. And if your attorney can't solve it or there's some red tape, if she lets me know, we'll take care of it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, man, she was.
It's in the chat, Judge.
Okay, all right, we're gonna come back on October 27th. Ms. Efron, if you go to a breakout room with Ms. Ferguson, what we can do is expedite whatever motion you want to file.
Okay, because I can try to get it filed today, or if the judge would accept it orally, or I'll do whatever the court.
No, if you speak with Ms. Ferguson, she can actually get it done if you're not gonna have any objections to the court having that done.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay, I'll go to that breakout room.
All right, before you go, do you need to speak with Mr. Buteri anymore?
No, I think we're good for today, Your Honor. I think we're good.
All right, Mr. Buteri, your attorney
ma'am.
will be seeing you and we will most definitely have you back no later than that October date, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. You have a great rest of your day.
You too.
All right, Norma, can you let them know that 14E can go back, please? All right, and be careful. All right, Lorraine, I'm gonna send you to breakout room number 1. And Ms. Ferguson will meet you in 1 and just let her know what motion it is.
Okay, Judge, thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. All right, the other person we're waiting for, Xavier Mcbride. We're coming back on that one on Friday. And Rebecca, I got that information from you on the medical, on the evaluation on McBride.
Okay, I just didn't know who was the prosecutor on that to
Okay.
inform me.
We're gonna take care of that before we leave. And I'm sorry, what date did we give Mr. McGarity?
McGarity was November 16th.
All right, thank you. I didn't write it down on the docket sheet. All right, and then the other person we have, okay, Neelam is coming back on Friday. It's hard to believe Friday is October 1st. All right, and the last person we have is Isaiah Esquivel. Let's see, who's the attorney on that case? Does anybody see what page that's on the docket? Isaiah Anthony Esquivel.
I couldn't find it every time you were saying it. I couldn't find it. I was looking.
Okay, let me see. This wasn't the contested MTR, was it?
No. The contested MTR was Boutier.
Okay. All right, well, everyone, we are done for today. Yay. Where's David Martin? Is he still going around from room to room?
Oh, is that him in the background of Elena's?
Yes.
I tried to get to Gervais' office, but I was blurred out.
Marcus Sanders, are you still there? All right, guys. And I know Tom is not on Zoom right now. All right, everyone. See everyone tomorrow at 9 a.m. They tell